Okay guys, we're going to make a series of videos to walk you through the Automoblox T9 assembly. The first thing I want to say is that as I'm going to hit place and go get some files, I want you to realize that you should have a folder where you have all of your part files. So all the files that you've built, all the pieces that are needed to assemble the car, they should be in one folder. Okay, so I've created a T9 Automoblox folder, and these are all IPT or part files all together. Okay, so if you haven't done that, you need to do that now before you start bringing parts into the assembly. Because once you have that assembly file created, if you go back and start changing file names or moving a file to a different folder, you're going to break some links that Inventor's creating as you bring pieces into the assembly. Okay, so now's a good time to change a file name and to move it to a folder that you want. I'm going to start with the passenger section as my grounded part at the origin, and we're going to build around that. To get that, I'm going to right click and say place grounded out at origin, and right click and say OK. And I'm going to get my front top right kind of set here. So we're going to calibrate our view cube. I think I want this to be my front top right, or maybe this. Maybe this is good. So the side view will be our quote front view. It'll be the most descriptive view. And then kind of the front of the car will be the right view. So I like that. So let's click on this face. We want to look at it. It's corresponding to what's now the left. I'm going to right click and say set the current view as front. And then I'm going to hit the isometric corner for the front top right. I'm going to right click, set current view as home, fit to view. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and get in this first video, the front, the truck bed, and the sockets. I'm going to leave off the connector and come back and do that in the next video, because the connector is a little bit more complicated piece. We did not model that one, and that one that we're providing has been modeled with a decent amount of care of detail, so much so that we don't have nice horizontal and vertical planes everywhere it might appear. You've got some tapered edges and things, and that makes it a little more challenging, but not too bad. So we're just going to keep that one in a separate video. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring in the how about we'll bring in the socket, and this is going to be the one-piece socket, I believe. Let me go back and remind myself. I've got this art open so I can reference if I need to, the 2-block socket. Okay, so we can bring in the front, and we've got these socket pieces. The 2-block sockets are always facing backwards, so you can see that it goes into the front piece as well as the back of the passenger section. So there's 2 of them, and they're facing backwards. So the 2s face backwards, and then the 1s, let me rotate around. The 1-block socket is facing forward. It goes into the front of the passenger section as well as into the truck bed. Okay. So let's say place, and I'll go get the 1-block socket. So T9 1-block socket, and we'll just pop that right here, and then we'll remember. So left click, right click, and say OK. If you see these work planes and you don't have them, don't worry about that. I created those, and that has something to do with connecting it to the connector piece, and so I'll show you all that soon. So let's get this in place. We're going to hit constrain, and I'm just going to use kind of the standard mates here. What you have to be aware of on here is we've got that flange, and that little flange that's sticking out is actually what's going to make contact with the wood. It is not this piece. So if you're looking at this, let me turn around the side a little bit more. Okay, there actually is going to be an air gap. This is not going to make contact with the wood. The flange is actually going to recess into the wood piece. So when we grab these parts, we need to make sure we get that surface here of the flange or on this side, okay? So I'm going to start with this small face, and I'm going to constrain that just with a normal mate to the bottom inside lid. Okay, hit apply, and then I may need to close this so that I can actually pull it out and see my pieces a little better. Constrain, stick with the original mate here. We're going to come in, we're going to grab now again the flange. Don't get that part, but get just a little lip of that flange. And now that's going to mate with the inside, so I need to rotate around. Like that. Apply, close, so I can pull it away. And last thing I need to do is stop it from being able to move in and out. So what I did is I just mated, that lip to the bottom so it can't move up and down. And then I mated the edge here to the left side so it can't move right and left, but it can still move in and out. So we're going to just do a regular mate now. The back of that inset with the back of the piece. Hit apply, close, and we're good. All right, so that's the 1-block socket. Now let's go ahead and do the 2-block socket on the back the exact same way. Okay, so I just did the 2-block socket and it worked out the exact same as doing the 1-block on the other side. So no need to watch all those clicks again. It's pretty much the exact same process. So let's go ahead and bring in the front. Place that kind of what appears to be in the front. And then the 2-block socket again has to fit into there. So we're going to place a 2-block socket. Now, one nice little trick about this I'm going to show you is that both of these pieces are movable. And so while I don't want to ground this piece permanently, I can temporarily ground the front. So I can right click on it, choose grounded so that it doesn't move. And now as I'm grabbing parts and things are kind of snapping together, they won't both move around on me. Okay, and so that's a helpful little trick. So we're going to do this again. So you're going to repeat this process, several times, as you can see. So you'll get pretty good at it. Apply, close. And then once you've got that connected, we'll just unground this part. Right click and unground the front, and now this is going to work as one piece. Okay, so to connect the front to the passenger section, and there is a connector that goes inside, we're going to come back and deal with that later. We are going to just use, again, kind of our traditional mates and flushes. So I think I'm going to use, for me, I'm going to start with a mate. I'm going to get the two faces that kiss right there. And then I'm going to flush the sides and the bottoms. Flush, flush. Oop, cancel. I clicked in the wrong place. I'm going too fast. Flush. Okay. And so that's it. We've got the passenger section with both sockets attached to the front. On the back, we've got the socket here. We need the truck bed and its socket. So we're going to repeat the exact same process now on the back. So I'm going to do that, and I'll be right back with the result. Okay, you can see the truck bed's in, and I've got the socket in it. And so we are just kind of finishing getting it connected. Actually, I did ground it, didn't I? Let me right click and unground it so it can move. And we are going to just attach that. So there's a mate, apply, and then I'm going to flush the two sides, apply, and then I'm going to get the undersides. Okay, so it's flush to the sides, but it's not flushed up and down. So we'll get the underside here, and vertically now it's flushed, and that looks good. Okay, and so you can see that my faces actually meet up, and the profile, I've got kind of the 1.53 height and the 3.17 width across the car matching up on all the pieces, and these fillets going down the sides were all a radius of 0.3, so that matches up nicely on all the pieces. Okay, so there you go. In the next video, which will be kind of a little bit more advanced, if you need to skip this one and come back to it, but I'll go ahead and do it in the next video, we will pull this apart and put the connector in the middle. Okay, so we'll be right back.